Hello, thank you so much for taking this time out to listen. Today's message is titled, The Conversations We Don't Want to Have. The Conversations We Don't Want to Have. The Lord has shared with me that there are those conversations that people just don't want to have with their loved ones, with co-workers and other people around them. So they tune into NM Enterprise 7, or they will go to Audio Boom or Your Listen in other places where I am located, because they feel comfortable in listening to the messages, and they don't necessarily feel comfortable just yet talking to people about their discomfort. So I get that, I understand, and that is why this is a journey for all of us to be able to just think about the things that we want to say before we say them, to stop talking when there are times where things are just not working out with different people, as well as just spending more time with the Lord through this process of, should I say this, should I say that, and all of that. There are those conversations that we just don't want to have. The conversation about how someone looks. That one is a big one, especially when you once knew that they were very fit and trim, and now they have let themselves go. But they have talked themselves into feeling very comfortable in their skin, a skin that at times causes them many problems, a skin at times draws people to the hospital, okay? But they never want to blame the fact that they're not eating healthy and they're not living right, okay? There's that other conversation you don't want to have, but you know you really should, and that's the one where somebody did something really bad. We're talking about they stole something, or they abused someone you heard, or there was an episode that you questioned and it's got the family in a tizzy, but no one wants to really speak up. That's the conversation that you tend to go, I don't know if I want to have it. And these two examples are definitely the kind that you do want to think twice about having with people, and you do want to pray about it, because they do tend to backfire. That one that you decided you wanted to tell her that she doesn't look this way and that way and she needs to get on a treadmill, stuff like that, she's not going to want to talk to you anymore, particularly if you start saying things in a mean way, like in the way that I just said it. No one wants to hear that. They're not going to receive that. And then you have those that they are struggling with wanting to speak about an issue that has nothing to do with them, though. You see, now there are those issues that, have everything to do with us. But then there are those that a third party source or someone, that is a relative, they brought up something to you. And so you feel kind of bold, at least for the moment, to want to talk to somebody about it. But then you hesitate. Okay. Is it really relevant to you? Is it really something that you really need to talk about? Or is it just that you feel pressure to do it because you really care about the person who shared it with you? But if it's not going to bring any peace, it's not going to bring any resolve, I'm hearing in the spirit, then a man should not be getting in another man's quarrel. You shouldn't be involved then. And you tell that person, if it really bothers them that much, they need to be the one to sit down and talk with the individual. Then there's the other conversation you just don't want to have. That's the one with the children, okay, or the grandchildren that are doing so much for you, but they're living foul, or they got something strange going on with them, and you want to have that conversation, but they tend to look at you in a strange way when you start talking about things maybe that allude to the subject, but you haven't came out and said it. So you kind of test them and you say, she might stop coming over here and helping me, or she might not want to do anything for me if I bring this up, you see. And then there's the conversation that you want to have with someone, but they're going to go back and tell everybody. but you really want to have the conversation, but you know that they're going to go back and tell everyone. So it's one of those things where you really have to think in both situations, how do I articulate this in such a way where, yes, I know this might have some type of repercussions, but do I have a backup just in case? Like, is there somebody else that I can rely on? Is there, something that I can do to prevent certain things? Do I need to have a recording going to make sure that the individual doesn't go around and tell everyone because I have them on recording saying A, B, and C? This can get quite intense. When you're dealing with people who like to lie, who like to exaggerate, who like to say that you did something and you didn't do it, you got to have recording devices around. And some folks will say, well, I don't want to do that because I don't want to get into trouble and all that. No one said you had to tell them, but if they want to say or do something, or threaten you in some way, then you got to do what you have to do if you must have that conversation. And if it happens to be somewhere where there are no witnesses. That's why it's best to bring people out into the open where there are witnesses, before you have these intense conversations. The other conversation that you may not want to have with someone deals with their child. Okay. Oh, people, they just go off the deep end. If it's something really negative or they don't really like you much. What did you mean by that? What did you say about my child? Okay, well, what about your child? That's one of those things that if it is not something major, you really don't want to have to go there with the argumentative parent who doesn't want to admit the fact that their child is trouble, but that is one of those conversations you gotta, walk softly about. The other one is the ever popular money conversation. Oh, wow. I really need some money right now, but should I make this phone call or should I go over to this person's house? Well, did you pay them back? That's the first thing you need to ask yourself. Or ask the person who is asking you, should I go over there and ask so-and-so for some money? Well, did you pay them back? No. Well, then no, you shouldn't be going over there having that conversation unless it's about the money that's inside your pocket that you're about to put in their hand. You see? So no, you never want to go back to that source that you've been asking for money and then you either take too long to pay them back or you just don't pay them back. Okay. Or your idea of paying somebody back is, no, I don't give them money back, but I give them some food out my refrigerator or something like that. People don't want that. The way I gave you the money is the way I expect for it to come back, you see. And then that conversation that you don't want to have when you find out that someone is doing something that they have no business doing. That one where, I saw so-and-so, she's in an interracial relationship and her daddy is prejudiced. Or, I didn't know he was gay. Or, oh my goodness, what is going on with them? Isn't he married? Oh, maybe I should talk to the wife. And maybe you shouldn't. Unless you have that kind of relationship where she says, if you ever catch my husband doing something, you better tell me. If you don't have that kind of conversation, it will backfire. It will. The person will at first take the information like, I can't believe it. Then they might snap on you. Then they might not snap on you. But then they will go and snap out on their husband or girlfriend or, wife. And then if something really bad happens, then the family will be thanking you. Oh, so you were the one who went over there and said this, that, and the other. Did you know that she was a little bit touched, a little bit off, and now she done went around and stabbed everybody and burned the house down? I didn't know. You need to be in jail right along with her. But I didn't know. See, you should have been praying and asking the Lord before you went telling her that her husband was doing this and that. You see? So you got to look at all possible scenarios before you have the talk with someone. And then that one conversation that a lot of couples just don't want to have, but sooner or later you're going to have it. And that's the breakup conversation. Oh yeah, the money conversation and all those other ones can be, difficult. But that breakup conversation is the worst, depending on the type of person that you are involved with. That type of conversation has to be planned. And sometimes it's better just to write the note or to meet in the public location. If you know that someone is known for being emotionally and or physically abusive, you might want to have the family members around and the police on standby. Okay? Those types of conversations, just when you thought everybody was, civil, can turn into something ugly. Next thing you know, somebody's packing the children's bags and they're talking about you'll never see us again, or you're probably dating so and so, and I'm gonna go up to your job and tell everybody, so that's what you want to do? You want to break up? Okay, well, then the next thing you know, they're stalking or they're ripping up your stuff the minute you close your eyes or you get out the house. That conversation, you really have to be careful how you go about doing that one. And if you do plan on having the conversation and you know somebody is volatile, it would make sense to get all of your stuff out the house before you have that conversation, if you value your stuff that much. And make sure that your car is away too, put away somewhere, so that that person doesn't take out their rage on your car if you're dealing with that kind of temperament. Now, of course, there are those that all of these types of conversations, they can handle them. They have showed you a long track record that, yes, I can deal with it. But people do change. And that's where you definitely have to pray and ask the Lord first, because the Lord may tell you this is not a good time. I know that God has told me many times not to have certain conversations, not to pick up the phone, not to go to somebody's house, not to sit down here, and talk to this one and that one. And I am grateful to God that I didn't, because sometimes you find yourself in situations that you don't know how you're going to get out of. You see, because you didn't listen to the Lord. Something that could have just been really simple ends up being the worst because you caught somebody at the wrong time. They lost their job, or they got some problems with their relatives. They found out some bad news, and then you come along talking about, oh yes, I need to talk to you. What about? Right then and there, it's not a good time. No, I want to talk right now. No, I think I'll talk to you another time. No, you took up time to come over here and talk to me. Then I want to know right now. Nope. You can already hear. You could already hear in the tone of their voice that they're going to go there with you. So that's why I say pray, fast, trust in the Lord, read the Bible, listen to, professionals who know how to communicate, make sure the police is around, do whatever you need to do if you have to say something to someone. So I hope that this message is enlightening for some of you all who are struggling right now. And I also want to take the time out to pray. Dear Lord, I ask in Jesus' name that this individual who is struggling with having to come out and talk to someone about something that is really bothering them, I pray that you will give them the courage, that you will put your angels of protection all around them, that you will bless them with wisdom, and also order their steps. In Jesus' name, give them the words that they need to speak, and cause them to exercise self-control over mind, body, and spirit. We ask these things in Jesus' name. So, that's it. I hope that you will definitely consider what I've said. Those of you all who have just come up out of bondage, dealing with any number of things, you don't want to be back in more bondage. Speaking too fast, too soon, saying things you have no business saying. So I thank you so much for listening, and to God be the glory.